उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है, सैलरी को छोड़कर नौकरियों का सर्जक बनना है, नौकरी की श्रेणी छोड़कर उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है। इंडियन इकोनॉमी का मंत्र विकास को बढ़ाना है, MSME का है सपना, इकोनॉमी 5 ट्रिलियन छूनी है, आशा और हिम्मत की कोई कमी नहीं है, सकारात्मक सोच MSME की कहानी है, नौकरी की श्रेणी छोड़कर उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है।
Thank you everyone for joining us. Good evening all. We would be starting with this wonderful session. Before that, let me tell you all, this particular song which you just heard, the lyrics has been made by Desai sir, and the song has been sung by his friend from his college days, and that's a entrepreneur song which has been spent, and it's a kind of anthem which we have prepared for the MSMEs, for the industries, for India, Atmanirbhar. So we will start with the webinar topic, which is on inventory management is a money spinner, and our honorable speaker is Desai sir. Before starting off with the webinar, I'll just introduce Desai sir. So Mr. Desai sir, Nilesh Desai, he's the founder and CEO of SME Analytics. He's an MSME expert and is the author of the book, The Unexplored Gold Mine, The Opportunities in the Revival of the Sick MSMEs. He's fond of writing daily newsletters to spread awareness about the MSME world. Mr. Desai has a vast experience of about 41 years in the engineering industry. Mr. Desai has widespread knowledge in MSMEs, and he is working towards increasing the operational efficiency of the MSME units. He's a member in various committees and represents the interest of MSME. He has traveled extensively and has business associations in Australia. Thank you, Desai sir. So on to you, sir, with the session.
Good evening, everybody. This is the first session we are giving after the budget. Budget has given a lot of inputs with the vision of 25 years for India to become 100 years after the independence. And this budget has laid down many things which we have to open up, we have to welcome that they are not changed. The tax structure is a big relief for everybody. So today's topic is inventory management is a money spinner. This is absolutely true for any industry, any service organization, any household, that if you don't optimize the use of your inventory, you will have a problem on hand. So let us first understand what is inventory. Inventory is considered to be one of the most important assets of a business, which includes raw material, component parts, supplies, work in progress, and finished goods. So these are all main items. Then there will be machinery, spare parts, stationary item, computer consumables, all that will be part of general inventory. So there are certain purpose to hold the inventory listed as to maintain the flexibility of the product system. You maintain some stock of each operation level, certain safety stock for raw material, spares, and finished goods are required to safeguard against a delivery time. See, after Corona, this third wave, Omicron, a lot of supply chain problems have come up in the world as many large industry has started following China plus one strategy, and there is a migrant labor everywhere. There is an extreme shortage of people in all economy all over the world, because migrant labor in India, they have moved from our cities to their villages, and they have not yet returned back fully. Similarly, see, I am now at this moment in Australia. Student visa, there are certain restrictions. The earlier who has got this thing, they have gone to India, they are not able to come back. So there is a lot of problem of this thing. So that has created a supply chain problem all over. So whatever you have considered safety stock, that is all broken. So new level has to be put up for safety stock, and predictability of stock has gone out of the windows. Next slide, please. There are certain costs for inventory as holding cost, setup cost, ordering cost, storage cost, etc. There are many costs. See, suppose if you buy any item, it requires to be stored in a particular atmosphere, particular this thing. So there is a cost of land, cost of stocking, cost of cleaning, cost of placing, all that, and ordering cost. Suppose if you want X quantity in two months time, so you cannot go every day for 30 days this thing. So there is a cost, ordering cost. You have to order to call to your supplier. So these all are inventory carrying costs, which is very critical for any manufacturing unit, particularly who are doing with their raw material. So the cost of raw, next slide, please. There are stock which you have, there will be a cost involved. Inventory system is a set of policies and controls that level of inventory and determine what level should be maintained when stock is replenished and large order should be ordered. Inventory is a product, service, and the merchandise that the MSME in India holds to sell to make profit. See, unless until you have got a stock to sell, you will not be able to make any profit or loss. So you will have to have some finished goods or some ready item which can be sold, and there should be a connection with the demand, anticipated the customer footfall, or conversion cycle time. All that is to be, and that depends on each industry to industry. As the MSME owner knows that inventory costs a lot for the business. In manufacturing company, the raw material cost can vary between 40 to 80%. So managing it effectively can perk up the revenue and reduce the cost of carrying excessive inventory. This way, sales will also be increased when the stock out is reduced, thus increasing their profit. Inventory management is a process of ordering, storing, and using a company's inventory, raw material, components, spares of machinery, and finished product. Inventory management means the right stock at the right level, in the right place, at the right time, and the right cost. So to make more profit, inventory management is important. And now, a lot of, next slide please, a lot of softwares are also available, which I'll be touching in the latter part of my slide. See, basically, you can start with ABC analysis. The easiest way to start with what is your requirement, or how do you method for inventory management. There are various methods, but to start with ABC analysis, A stands for raw material or very highly costly item which requires a attention of the management. B is a middle level. Many times it can be ordered and it has to be delegated to little below level, but it is very critical. C is the item there will be 50, 70, 80 items, but each will be value-wise small, but each can be a troublemaker. Like suppose one nut is required, M10 nut is required in the final assembly. The assembly cost may be 2 lakhs and one nut may be 30 paisa or 50 paisa. If it is not available, the assembly will be in hold unless until it is procured and put. So ABC analysis that gives basic idea of smooth running of manufacturing company. B class item will be frequently purchased, ordered like electrodes in fabrication unit, while raw material will be A grade item whose price generally may fluctuate, or high cost in like in fabrication unit, or cement in concrete block manufacturing unit. Concrete block when you make, you require cement in a large quantity against the finished goods. So cement is an A class item. While suppose if you are manufacturing say a ship, so a lot of steel items will be A class item, but that can be planned because one ship fabrication will take 18 to 24 months, depending on the scale and other things. So you have to have a planning in such that nothing is left out and everything is planned well in advance. So for then let us understand pattern of consumption. Data can be collected from the past record, or a fresh start can be made for future use. For controlling C class item, generally we can follow maximum and minimum stock levels, which means some stock should be taken. And if it falls below minimum, the difference between minimum and maximum has to be purchased. Say in a suppose in your own house, say salt. Salt is a continuous consumption item. So suppose if your wife or your mother keeps 1 kilo stock in safety stock, when she goes next time for purchases, she can buy 1 kilo more. So that kind of stocks you will have to buy frequently, but there will be a minimum order, minimum item, which depends on the packaging as well as availability, ease of this thing, carrying cost, everything. So that is C class item are generally left to stores manager, like in fabrication, hand gloves or goggles or welding glass, white glass, all that very low cost, but they can stop the production. If the welding glass is not available on the helmet, welder cannot work, he cannot do. And one welder costs nowadays 600 to 1200 rupees per day. So that is all we have to consider. For controlling B class item, we can follow maximum minimum order, or we can follow standard packaging model. And the frequency can be once in a week with the instruction to the store department. If the last 1 or 2 packets are, it should be brought to the notice of the management or supervisor. For a class item, generally production planning has to be used as a guiding tool. A class items are reasonably highly priced and management should be involved in day-to-day item. Because A class item, the price may fluctuate. And when the price fluctuation is there and the varieties are there, say in fabrication unit, steel price may fluctuate, maybe now there is a supply chain problem. So in last about 12 months, steel prices have gone up by 20 to 40% depending on grade and quality. So, and many of export orders are being affected. Small exporters are getting affected, which was a byproduct of Corona. So this kind of things probably for MSME to predict is a difficulty, but they should be having a sharp eye and then take corrective steps. And this is very critical. Next slide, please. Method for inventory management, batch tracking, also known as the lot tracking, is a system used to trace product using a batch number, including parts or indigenous associated with the group of product, entire distribution type, manufacturer or supplier, fulfillment center, and the customer. From raw material to finished goods, batch tracking enables you to know where your inventory comes from, where they went, how much inventory was shipped, and when inventory will expire if it has an expiration date. Thus, batch tracking is used to organize your inventory by production or expiration date that provides real-time visibility into your inventory and enable strategic decision making. Why the batch tracking important to inventory management? These are all slowly we can start. There are basically three: manual inventory taking, stock taking, this batch tracking, as well as later on various methods will come where depending on larger warehouse and other things, you can change the method. Why is the batch tracking is important to inventory management? It increases efficiency, reduce wastage, improves quality control, enhance health safety, helps in ensuring compliance, provide advanced reporting, helps in managing product recalls. See, a number of times we read it, Maruti has called back 20,000 vehicles for a fault of a small battery terminal. Now, because there is a tracking, Maruti can say from where they have taken that battery terminal to which customer they have sold. There is a tracking system. Next slide, please. Bulk shipment. The method considers unpacked material that supplies a load clearly to ships or trucks. It involves buying, storing, supplying inventory in bulk, consignment, cross-docking, demand forecasting, drop shopping, economic order quantity. I will take up this economic order quantity. Others are for larger MSME. So I'm just mentioning it. Economic order quantity will go. Next slide, please. Before we go to economic order quantity, just-in-time inventory. In 1950s and 1960s, Toyota has started Toyota production system, and slowly they have reduced the time in just-in-time. Even all the automobile manufacturers today, they get finished engine 3 times in a day. The system is so organized that as soon as the engine comes in, it directly goes in assembly line, and it is correct. So that has reduced the cost considerably, that the benefit is ultimately passed to consumer. Just in time, lean manufacturing, material requirement planning, minimum order quantity, reorder point formula, perpetual inventory management. This is coming up now in a big way, but this is for a larger MSME unit. You can say between 50 crores to 250 crore turnover, and we will have to switch over to utilizing more of the software technology so that we can reduce the cost. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Safety stock. See, today we have to keep some safety stock in our manufacturing this thing, so that so safety stock depends on the lead time. See, suppose if the manufacturer is in say USA, the item is coming, so we'll have to consider the lead time about 3 to 4 months, unless until we are importing by air. That all kind of consideration, and then the supply chain bottlenecks also to be considered. The problem at the supplier's end has to be factored, and that such that the safety stock has to be arrived. Many times, because of certain problem in transportation, raw material which is coming from Haryana to Telangana, normal time it may take 4 to 5 days, or there is some supply chain problems and it takes 16, 17 days. So considering that, but if you keep higher safety stock, your storage capacity goes up, cost of holding, the interest on that goes up. So you will have to balance between these two. Six Sigma and Lean Six Sigma is again when we start with Toyota production system or many other systems, and we start following. It will be more applicable to the units above 50 crore turnover. Next slide, please. Spare part management. Before that, I would like to go for, I do not know whether economic order quantity, one slide is there or not. If it is there, I'll avoid when it comes. Economic
Yes,
order quantity.
Sir, it is there.
So can we bring that first? Economic order quantity.
Sure.
Say every item which is required by MSME, maybe in B or C, more particular has to be worked out on the basis of price and standard packaging before we decide on frequency of purchase. And as an example, bolt, nut, and washer are technically C-class item for product planning. But if not planned properly, and early will stop the dispatch of total assembly, which I said. But then how frequently we should buy? Because when suppose if you want to buy, say 500 rupees worth of hardware required for one assembly, one particular item. So your purchase manager or a clerk has to go to market and come back and purchase. So that cost of man has to go bring the item. He has to collect cash or depending on order, purchase order. So all that has to be worked out, because generally entrepreneur who signs the check, he thinks that signing a check is costing practically nil. But if we consider total cost of signing a check, it may for 100 rupee check, the signing process itself must have costed 150 rupees. Because the accountant has to prepare, he has to pass a debit and credit entry or whatever. The entry invoice has to be filed, check has to be prepared and signed and given. So for 100 rupees check, the cost of signing or preparing a check may be 150 rupees. Similarly, if you buy C-class item in a large quantity, so that you frequently going to the market and bringing the item, you may feel that you have saved, but ultimately you will have to find out how much you should order every time. When it falls below, every time you will have to keep the existing market conditions and buy. Suppose say in USA, when the corona started about 2 years back, toilet roll has gone into short supply. Now, can you imagine the relation between toilet roll and a short supply because all of a sudden people thought there will be a lockdown, and they purchase whatever is available, and the replacement did not come. So they have to restrict supply of toilet roll. This kind of things. Today in Australia, we wanted a pani puri, that raw pani puri. We are not able to get because there is a shortage. That the person who makes pani puri here has gone to India, and it has created a supply chain problem here. So EOQ, every item, maybe a small manufacturing company will have 50 to 100 C-class item and B-class item. Every item, if you consider EOQ, you will be able to optimize or optimize the cost of holding that inventory, including redundancy, interest costs, storage costs, etc. So EOQ is very particularly very important, and you have to be conscious for A-class item continuously, because A-class item in your production schedule may be in between 40 to 80% cost of this. And if you are not purchased, every 100 rupees difference in that will affect your final profit. Next slide, please. Any business, they are running the business for earning the profit, and the profit is when you are able to turn out your inventory faster. So inventory turnover ratio is a very critical ratio, which my Babaji tool, where we are trying to tell the 52 ratios, we are trying to bring out operational ratios, and this is one of the critical operational ratios where finish means how many times you are able to turn your inventory in a year. So if you are able to turn your inventory 10 times in a year or 12 times in a year, you are able to get better profit as if you are turning out 2 times or 3 times in a year. It depends on what is your line. If your capital item when you are making one machine or something, it may take 3 to 4 months to make that. And if you are making, say, what is that, Maggi type of noodles, say noodles, so you will have to bring the atta and other ingredients, and you have to see that it is dispatched. So here, if you are keeping your inventory, if you are not able to turn your inventory more than 15-20 times, you will be finding difficulty of obsolescence, out of date, raw material expired, all that. So you will have to be critically looking into inventory turnover ratio. The profitability of any manufacturing MSME unit or service also depends on how many times he rotates his inventory in a year. Inventory depends on the nature of industry step involved in manufacturing, work in progress at different machine, any external operation which may be needed, etc. Higher the turnover ratio, the better profitability. That is why concept of just in time has helped Toyota to become lowest cost manufacturer in early 50s and 60s. Lower inventory turnover indicates a lack of demand, outdated product, or poor selling and inventory policy. This brings out to other areas which are linked with this. So we are always advocating whatever balance sheet you are doing, please get analyzed free of cost with SME analytics. That will help you to understand the areas where you can improve your profitability. And we are a social fintech startup. Believe that once the operational efficiency of MSME increases, it will create more jobs and more GDP contribution. Next slide, please. Safety stock calculation, I have already said, I will not be going in detail. Next slide, please. EOQ, I have already said. See, now earlier also I have said, use of ERP and inventory management software. There are various type of inventory management software are available. Some are free, some are priced. But there will be, if you want to add up this kind of software, you may have to go add up by barcode technology or RFID kind of technology. So these are all necessaries, but ultimately it helps you to reduce the cost, because real-time corrections, real-time ordering, real-time monitoring will be, your organization will be able to add up that kind of thing. So I'm not going in detail. Next, please. But these are all ERP and software. This is also very critical. Next. And then necessary information, accurate data for timely taking decision, inventory. Next, please. These are software I have already mentioned. Next, please. Benefit of inventory management: saves money. Understanding stock trends means you saw how much of and where you have something in stock, so you are better able to use the stock you have. This also allows you to keep less stock at each location, as you are able to pull from anywhere to fulfill orders. All of this there decreases cost tied up in inventory and decreases the amount of stock that goes unsold before it is obsolete, and improves cash flow. With proper inventory management, you spend money on inventory that sells. So cash is always moving through the business, satisfies the customer. One element of developing loyal customer is ensuring they receive the item they want without waiting. This is very critical, that stock out will be avoided. And so stock out is avoided, that means you got a loyal customer under development. Next slide, please. Challenges. The primary challenge of inventory management are having too much inventory, not being able to sell, not having enough inventory to fulfill orders, and not understanding what items you have in inventory and where they are located. So these are the challenges. Getting accurate stock details. If you don't have the accurate stock details, there is no way to know when to refill the stocks or which stock moves well. Poor processes, outdated or manual processes can make work error prone and slow down operations. Human error also is possible. Then using warehouse was well. Staff basis and time if the products are hard to locate. Mastering inventory management can help eliminate these challenges. Even it will help to reduce human error. Next, please. At a glance, inventory management is a process of, I will not go as I would like to interact with audience for more question answer. So I will restrict generally whatever I have said. Inventory management is very, very critical, and every entrepreneur, what of it solves, will have to spend and develop processes where he can control the inventory cost. And let me tell you, if I see in our Indian tradition, Marwadi, they try to sell they try to buy the product in the morning and sell in the evening. If they make 1 paisa profit also, they want to sell turnover. We can learn a lot of things from Marwadis. So why they are doing that? Slowly they are also changing, but they are also interested. Marwadi traders, jitna jaldi bech sake, utna becho. That is why they are more successful. Next slide, please. I am very happy to announce that we recently got a certification or a certificate from HICIA that being adjudged one of the hottest 10 startups in Hyderabad. This is a pride, and this credit goes to my team as well as all who are helping me to refine my ideas, where I can help MSME to become to make India to reach $5 trillion economy. That will be coming in the song also. Next slide, please. These are the services what we provide differently. Babaji tool is a software tool where you will be doing analysis of your balance sheet and profit and loss to give you 52 ratios that is free of cost. And then we will be developing Z-score for predicting insolvency. We do mentoring of startup and MSME. We work based on a freemium model. So these are the what we do. Next, please. Same thing, we can help you up to go to, we will provide CFO services, we provide fundraising, then many other services. We have got our YouTube channel. Next slide, please. We request everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel and circulate, share with your friends and other things, so that they will be also be helpful. They'll also be helped out. Next slide.
We are done with the presentation. We'll go for the interaction session and question answer session.
Before that, if that, what is the time now?
It is 4:35, 4:40, around 4:40.
So can we have that song?
Oh, sure, sir.
Yeah. See, this is the song where we want to challenge how MSME can contribute.
नौकरी की श्रेणी छोड़कर उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है। नौकरी की श्रेणी छोड़कर उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है। सैलरी को छोड़कर नौकरियों का सर्जक बनना है। नौकरी की श्रेणी छोड़कर उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है। इंडियन इकोनॉमी का मंत्र विकास को बढ़ाना है। MSME का है सपना इकोनॉमी 5 ट्रिलियन छूनी है। आशा और हिम्मत की कोई कमी नहीं है। सकारात्मक सोच सब MSME की कहानी है। नौकरी की श्रेणी छोड़कर उद्योगपति की श्रेणी में आना है।
Thank you, everybody. I hope that a song may be appropriate for this thing. And now we'll go for question answer. Please, can we start question answer?
Yes, sir. We'll start with the question answer. Before that, anybody who wants to question here, like instead of writing, does anybody want to interact something? Does anybody has any question regarding the topic? Or else we can proceed with the questions then. I think all right, we'll go for the questions then. The first question, You mentioned, sir, you mentioned China plus one strategy. Can you give a brief about the same and how it is related?
See, China wants to become a superpower, so they have got their political agendas, and a lot of doubts has been created in world over that China can play any kind of uh, games which will help. So earlier, China had an advantage of mass manufacturing or manufacturing of the world. So now every large manufacturer, they are looking for alternative source of supply. So that is why they are setting up units wherever they are finding economy. And say like Apple computer, Apple phone, they have set up 3 assembly units in India. Tesla car is looking positively to set up a unit uh, here in India. They are negotiating, and our government is also responding with earlier it was 13, now one more, 14 sectors where PLI production link incentive has been introduced, and that has created a positive mindset for changing the MSME's total ecosystem. See, earlier in about 30, 40 years back when Maruti came, very few people were there as tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers. Now they are slowly eliminated tier 2 and 3 suppliers. They have gone to tier 1, and that ecosystem has given other car manufacturers to come to India. And that is happening now in mobile telephone, batteries, textiles, steels. There are about solar. There are about 14 sectors government has given PLI, and it will increase so that the multinationals or large manufacturer, they can take the advantage of lower labor cost in India, and our government is trying to make India as a world's manufacturing hub. And if that comes true, a lot of low-skilled jobs will be required, which will come from our villages, or the manufacturing units can be set up near the where production hubs are there. All that is considered, and steps are being taken. I hope I answered your question. And there are many competitors. Bangladesh is there for us in garment or electronic item. Taiwan, Korea, they are going to be a very tough competitor. So our MSME will have to, Haji, our MSME will have to work with a very, very minute profit. Next, please.
Next question, it's not a question, but Mr. Srikanth is asking, I heard about Six Sigma many times. Can we have webinar on Six Sigma and how it is helpful for MSME?
You are right. We can
You
have
are very wrong. Sorry, this is not the way you.
I could not get it. You see, what you are saying is right. But our SME analytics, we would like to help the units below, say, 50 crores, where we feel there is a lot of potentiality to upgrade their various these things so that they can become cost competitive. Once they become cost competitive, to start with 5S, and the further things has to started, and that's an attitude change. Six Sigma having a webinar is a yes, it can be held. See, that way we held as a webinar on Industry 4.0, but how many of my target group will be interested in that? My target group is unit below 50 crore, where I feel that whatever we are talking will make a drastic change. I hope I answered your question or observation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Next question. Do an enterprise need to follow all the process?
Again, please.
Just a moment. There might be some issue. Just a moment.
Mhm.
Just a moment, sir. Some disturbance is coming. We'll just continue.
No, again, can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. So the question is, do an enterprise need to follow all the processes you mentioned, like just-in-time, EOQ, ABC analytics, etc.?
I think the question has been asked by some educated person, and MSME is a evolution of from lowercase g to engineering graduate and PhD. So it like that, MSME also, when you start, you can start with small ABC kind of analysis, probably because you have started with your own money or with partially funded by friends and relatives, or you have taken a bank loan, and you are under process of understanding your customer needs, his demand, all that. So you can start with a manual thing with an eye on that you don't overstock, simultaneously you don't run out of the stock also. So that is the thing. To slowly, when you evolve, you can go on adopting ABC analysis, EOQ kind of thing, stores management, computerization, then you can go for barcoding as well as RFID and various other things, or perpetual inventory. I wish all my participants can go to that process and reach a higher turnover. Then there seems to be some academicians also in the audience today. Can we go to next?
Yes, sir. If our business is very small, still we have to follow all the processes you mentioned?
I said yes. It depends. You are not going to be small forever. You will have to evolve to an adult, and you will have to add from small to this thing. You have to reach, as in our song also, we have got a lot of courage and himmat. So you are not going to be small forever. So you are going to go, and accordingly you will have to change the processes. That requires a change in attitude also in your staff, everywhere, in your customer, in your workers, everywhere. So you have to be continuously evolving. Next, please.
Next question is, does ERP software is required or necessary for small businesses?
Particularly after Corona, I think we should think that ERP is a part of our this thing. If you are at 1 crore to 2 crore turnover company also, because a lot of ERPs are available, customized or standard, and ERP, if you start adopting, your rate of growth will be faster, because you will be able to take a better data-driven management, and your staff, your processes also will be getting automated slowly. Today, if you are, you will have to change from gut feeling based decision to data-driven decision.
Next question I'll go for. Sir, both inventory and logistic management are interlinked with each other. Does any change in logistic management affect on inventory management?
Yes, very rightly observed. Today, container shortage in the world market, container movement in the world market has affected everything, more particularly import dependent countries. See, I'm in Australia at this moment, and a lot of items are not easily available. They have rationed because of corona and because of container shortage. Similarly, our India also, lot of shortages are coming up often and on and on. So logistic supply chain is integrated. Inventory management and logistics are two sides of a coin. That is why our Prime Minister about 6 months back or 4 months, 5 months back announced a Gati Shakti Yojana. And again, that was repeated in the budget that all modes of transportation, they are wanting to integrate in such a way that our logistic costs, which are now about practically a 12%, has to come down to 4 or 5% to become competitive in the world market. And that is where government and every stakeholder is getting connected. Definitely inventory and logistic costs are interrelated, like husband and wife, you can say. And if the logistic problem is going to go up, you'll have to increase your inventory level. So that is why enough liquidity forecasting, all that will be required as you go with interconnecting or integrating all the factors in your processes. Next, please.
Thank you for the answer, sir. Wonderful answer. So next question, sir, warehouse efficiency is very important in inventory management. How can manufacturer use it efficiently in managing the space?
Very intelligent question. Yes, see, it depends on how vertically you are able to use your space. Vertical storage has to be thought. Then you'll have to work out heavy items should be put at the bottom and light items should go at the top, or minimum. Suppose if you go to metro wholesale shop, they are also keeping the same item in the top portion of the thing, and whatever they feel they are going to consume in the process of a day, they keep at the display level so that consumer can pick up. Similar thing has to be done. Use of forklift. Use of pallets. Modern, you can say, modern tools has to be used for better inventory management. More particularly, if you grow vertically, you will have to keep in mind safety of the operations. As you grow, these all are becoming compliance problem also. Now, I have got 2 or 3 warehouses here in Australia. And every time when we use forklift, we check up whether that operator has got its license renewed, whether he is able to, whether he's, that all normal safety procedures, we coordinate out so that no sort of accident can happen. And warehouse management is practically remote because it may be away from the office, or maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 kilometers. So integrating that, otherwise warehouse से माल निकला ऑफिस तक नहीं पहुंचा, किधर गायब हो गया, that will come to know after 5 or 10 days. So these are all systems security problems which has to be identified and taken care much earlier. Warehouse is very critical. Next, please.
Sir, next question, sir. Having more stock and less stock can affect the business. How the manufacturer can manage the stock as per demand in the market?
See, generally, you'll have to have some sort of a forecasting this thing, and you'll have how much time does a product takes to turn around from raw material to finished goods, that process time. Also, some product like seasonal, like suppose crackers, Diwali time it will be selling more, so they will have to produce that crackers in Sivkasi or other areas so that they can distribute. So seasonal items will be there, like say kites are there. So like that umbrella is also rain affected item or raincoats. So these are all seasonal dependent item which you can easily forecast. Some items like you can say paracetamol, because of COVID, consumption of paracetamol may have changed, and that accordingly you will have to take care of how much is the paracetamol or particular drug requirement. Also, again, which area, suppose paracetamol is getting, one drug is getting made in Hyderabad, but the disease is developed in, say, Punjab. That transportation cost, manufacturing, how to do, whether it can be flown there or something. That all kind of logistic also has to be worked out. Yes, it is depending on forecasting. Suppose certain items, like one of my friend, he is making weld mesh or wire mesh, and our GHMC comes out with a budget, and then depending on forestation or a tree guard requirement, all that will come. So that depends on how the GHMC is going to, what is the budget they are allocating, how much time will it take to the order, this thing, and accordingly he will have to plan. So these are all seasoned manufacturers will know and forecast and take care of this thing. For a new people, a new entrepreneur, he has to depend on some mentors or some elders in the field who would like to see that he is growing. I hope I answered.
Yes, sir. I mean, we don't have further question. I mean, there are two questions which you have already answered. So the question goes by, sir, how can inventory management deal with seasonal production? And other question is, sir, does the changes in external market affect the inventory?
Yeah. So, friends, our next webinar will be on next Saturday. And again, my faith is in our MSME. And next this webinar will be on quality. And some of the friends suggested 6 Sigma. I may not go up to 6 Sigma, but quality is a necessity for conquering the world. If you improve your quality, you will be able to conquer the world. See, there is an ideal example is in our practically our India, Ichal Karanji, where lot of instruments are getting made by one Mr. Kulkarni about 40-50 years back, and he has captured that world as a market. Like that, many items now are getting developed, and on quality only they are conquering the world. So any further this thing, or we can end? Next webinar will be on 12th, same time.
Yes, sir, we can end. Questions are over, sir.
Okay. So we'll meet next thing. Thank you for participating, and please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.